But let me come to my first, let me stick to my sequence. Just an aside, Malas, all that was done in the last 10 minutes was reference to everything but the whip. The only issue relevant is whip. Your Lordship would be asked to turn parliamentary and party-based democracy on its head if you were told that whip is not issued by the political party. What your Lordship has shown just now is totally irrelevant and red herring because it is intimating to the Speaker and the House that in this House, my leader is so-and-so. That is a communication between those in the House communicating with the Speaker. Speaker has to know whom to communicate with. It is no communication of the party with its members. That's the whip. And that the party issues, the party decides. But that was apart. We'll come to those rules. So this is completely irrelevant. It cannot be anybody's case that in the context of a whip, the party, the political party is to be ignored and the legislative party is to be looked at. Now, but leave that aside. Let me go in my own sequence first. I'll come to that. Malas, your Lordships ended before lunch with a simple finish with a flourish, Malas, about democracy. Let me just start with that. Now, Malas, the first submission, and I'm not going to follow this sequence. Allow me to oralize, Malas. My first of my 8 facets is, Malas, something which is repeatedly fallen from your Lordships, and Malas, yesterday it fell directly from my Lord Justice Narasimha. That, Malas, your Lordship is concerned about democracy, majority becoming less, or your Lordship used the word overwhelming numbers going this way or that way. This connects with that. Mr. Sibal has answered in one way. I'm now giving your Lordship a different facet. Because my submission is that your Lordship has to go back to the origins of the 10th schedule. And first point under this head, Malas, is that the 10th schedule has 2 components, not only one. One is a prohibitory negative code. It's a negative code. So a negative code is what you should not do. Violating a whip, voluntary resignation, cohabiting with other people, etc. But there is also an affirmative, positive part of that code. And what the 10th schedule does is to strike a balance between the negative and the positive by a constitutional amendment. It is my respectful submission that it is vital for your Lordships to give effect to both negative and positive in letter and spirit. Because your Lordship is actually implementing the Constitution. And some of the arguments of the other side have bordered on suggesting that a mere, I'm using the word mere advisedly in comparison to a constitutional text, a mere symbols order will be competing with a constitutional text. That would be, Malas, completely anathema to all known principles. What are these 2 codes, Malas? The negative code is that you, in a nutshell, I'm just saying, in a nutshell, I'm oversimplifying, you will not voluntarily give up membership to an A and you will not violate whips to one B. Just in a broad summary. What is the affirmative permissible activity? You are entitled to dissent only within that permissible zone. Otherwise, why enact the 10th schedule, Malas? Prior to 85, you didn't have the 10th schedule. You had Jungle Raj, which you called Ayaram Gayaram sometimes, but then you can also justify that in the name of free speech, free action. What you did here was you allowed a zone of activity, permissible, affirmative, but you cannot say that I will go beyond that permissible and thereby violate indirectly the negative code also. What is that permissible activity? The affirmative code of conduct. One is if faction or a split till the 91st Amendment. They gave you an escape route, advisedly, consciously. That has gone. It was there. So, Malas, the Constitution famous thought that along with a negative code of conduct, so as not to stifle you completely, we give you an escape route, exit route of faction or 1/3 or whatever it was called. Malas. Second, merger. Third, and this is actually, Malas, the most important part of 10th schedule. Malas, elections barring a few cases, Malas, in the days of 1960s, etc. Malas, there used to be a very strong, large number of independents. Independents have now dwindled. The statistics show, even then, in terms of 545 Lok Sabha, you had hardly 30, 40. But independents commanded a coordination. My father also got into Lok Sabha on an independent party-less ticket. So I know that time was Mr. Nath Pai, so many people. But today, even then, party democracy was, everything was based on party. You got a ticket and you fought and you won because the party projected you as its candidate. That is now, much, much truer after the 60s, 70s onwards. Today, the number of independents compared to the 60s would be a fraction. So it's party-based democracy. You like it or not, it's not for anybody to question. We've chosen it, but there's nothing perfect. Some people say US is better, some people say European, but this is what we've chosen. And now, this third balance.
Third point is what? What is the point?
One is
split is permissible, merger
second is merger. Third now.
The third point.
Third comes with the light of what I said just now. The whole idea of the 10th schedule is resign and recontest. That's what is stopping you from doing. You enter the door through this door and then you retain your ministership and seat while exiting through the other door. Sorry, not permissible. Resign, have the courage of your conviction. Now, you are a very vocal freedom speaker. You have the courage of your conviction.
Which Justice Jeevan Reddy referred to in that extract.
I'll be dealing with some of that.
It was not in the context of the 10th schedule.
But I'll be dealing with that. Some judgments have referred to it. I'm going to suggest that because this is the core question my Lord Narasimha asked, my Lords asked earlier. What do we do when an overwhelming set of people want to express dissent? 9 tenths, let's say 9 out of 10. Let's take an extreme example. How do we balance and countervail these two competing balances? The 10th schedule says you can go thus far in balancing, not further. Whereas if you are so much for free speech, courage of your convictions, this is a rotten party, I can't say, resign and contest. Recontest, what is the problem? Then the fourth is the exemptions. Apart from merger, there's an exemption clause, condonation, whatever. All that is given there. Now what we have to see is that if a constitutional amendment balances the prohibitory with the affirmative part, you cannot find an excuse to circumvent the prohibitory part by going beyond the 4 avenues of the affirmative part, now only 3. Action is gone. Now, let us take this further, because that's your Lordship's query. I'm sorry, there is a 5th one. I forgot. There's a 5th one. I'm now breaking it up. There is a 5th balancing on the affirmative side. You are so concerned about free speech. You are resigning is one, or you absolutely hate where you are. You go to the Election Commission and start your para 15 proceeding that I am the real party. But you do that without indulging into the prohibitory part. That's keeping the sanctity of the 10th schedule. Now I am addressing the core dilemma of my lords. Let me develop it in a minute. That's also a statutory remedy, lower than constitutional. So the 5th is, now actually only 4 because that faction is gone, split is gone. So 4. The 4th would be file a complaint to the Election Commission, say, look, 9 of us are standing here, we are the party, recognize us. Till then, don't do any prohibitory activity. The Election Commission will or will not recognize you and is subject to challenge. What does this do, This maintains the sanctity of the 10th schedule and maintains the negative and the affirmative parts of the 10th schedule. What does my Lord normally prefer? A option I give your Lordships which reduces the other option to vanishing point? Or an option which harmonizes both? Elementary principles tell your Lordship by 1,000 cases that your Lordship prefers the harmonization approach. Elementary common sense shows that my learned friend stand reduces the 10th schedule to vanishing point. It is as good as a dead letter or a repeal. Which is better? The answer is self-evident. Now, here, just see how this dead letter vanishing point arises. You don't resign with the courage of your convictions to fight another election. You don't go to the Election Commission till much later. Almost a month, just under a month after 21st you went to Guwahati, 19th you go to the Election Commission. 2 days before a month is ending. You don't seek condonation. What you do is, bullets, what I call a 3 steps novel procedure to annihilate the 10th schedule. It's a 3-step novel procedure. Step 1 of which is disable the speaker by giving him a mere notice. So, the man can't touch you on the 10th schedule. Just see my submission of harmonization versus vanishing point. Step 2 of this sinister 3-step novel procedure is to forward resolutions parallelly to the governor, who in turn makes it the basis of a trust vote direction. And the final step 3 is the act of being sworn in as Chief Minister.
Sorry?
The act of being sworn in as Chief Minister. With another party fully supporting, in whose lap you were in Guwahati. Now, I'm not on the, just kindly consider. You don't follow the affirmative part which gives you play in the joints and leeway, flexibility. You don't resign. You don't merge. The most important, interesting point is you don't merge. Just see for a minute that B, poor B. If you are sitting in their lap and they are supporting you, at the last minute, instead of them becoming Chief Minister, they make you Chief Minister. What is the problem with merging? So, you say to hell with the 10th schedule, it gives me an escape route, I'll ignore it. I'll go to the 3 steps. And the language, without opening it, where his original political party merges with another political party, and he claims and any other members of the original political party have become members of such political party, or as the case may be, of a new political party formed by such merger.